Welcome everyone to this Behavior Code podcast. This is where I interview people. Hey, can I get you to turn off the music from your side?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm here with Sultan Pravata. I'm your host, YogiChris, PhD, aka what my birth name is Chris Devilbus. And it sounds rare to hear that. I was thinking the other day, I was like, I keep saying YogiChris, PhD, but how many people actually know my last name is Devilbus? Devilbus. Okay, so I'm your host, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga. And this podcast is sponsored by Ninth Limb Yoga. So you can find out about me, ninthlimb.com or hashtag ninthlimb on Instagram. But I'm here with Sultan Pravata, a real estate agent from Bay Area, California. So that's by San Francisco Bay. And very successful young man, very committed to his excellence. And I've seen growth in him that is, just so impressive. It reminds me somewhat of myself, but also he has a unique story and a unique ambition to do the Messengers training. If you're just now tuning into the Behavior Code podcast, this show, I only interview graduates and alumni of the Messengers program or the Tabiat program by my teacher, Arash Dibazar. And it's a very prestigious program. It's a high ticket program, meaning you got to pay a lot of money to get in, and you have to be accepted. It can't just be you have the money. You have to be a certain person that gets accepted to this kind of training. It's a communications training. And Sultan is a graduate and a returning member. He's an alumni, so he keeps coming back. And this is who I'm interviewing today, Sultan Pravata. We have a meeting coming up, a Messengers group, a live event in San Jose this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so we'll be meeting and we'll be able to catch up. So that's coming up. And I also just kind of want to check in with you and see where you're at, brother. And what's going on with your day? How are you doing today? And what are you looking forward to most about this upcoming Messengers meeting?
Thank you for the intro. I'm super excited to attend live for the second time.
Live in San Jose. That's coming to San Jose, staying in an Airbnb for 3 or 4 nights, and going out with Arash Dibazar several times, having some personal private lectures at the Airbnb, at his apartment, getting the vibe, living the life from the eyes and side by side with the master of living life. That's the live event that Sultan is talking about.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Going live for the second time is going to be surreal. Recently, I've been, like when you get into like states of not wanting to do anything. I'm sure everyone has run into this, and it seems like those moments, the more that you push through them as they come, as they hit you, you excel even more afterwards. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but
well, yeah, because you're like training with weights, definitely.
Right.
Like you take the weights off when you finally are. When the weight is lifted from you, you have a lot more, propulsion.
Absolutely. Right. That's what I've been kind of battling recently, is something along those lines. Like
battling what?
Some similar to that. So where I must execute this, and this, and then I'm just like, I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do this.
Right. Like I'm tired, or like, oh no, maybe I'll just, maybe do it tomorrow. Right.
Right.
And the more that I ignore that part where I'm being told by the psychopath into my head.
The psycho in the head.
Yeah, the psycho in the head that's telling you to, hey, we should maybe wait. We should maybe do this a little bit later. The more that I forget about that and just let it do its thing and I continue, the more progress I'm seeing, which is it's incredible. And progress, of course, there's times where.
So as you don't listen to the psycho in the mind that's telling you not to do things,
right?
And you make progress. What do you mean progress?
Progress is in becoming more free and not the voice doesn't get you as much as it, at least for me, it's not getting to me as much as it did in the past, where I would listen to it and then it would kind of just like slowly bring you down, right? Like you do all this stuff and then it comes to a point where it's like, well, maybe you should wait. And then when you listen to it, it just brings you back down to where you were. So progress is in paying less attention to the mind, to the voice, and progress in life in general. So whether it's making money or committing to what you want to do, if it's working out or reading. Like I have a commitment to read 35 books this year. So, and that's something that I've never even.
Does that include audiobooks?
No.
Oh, you're not? Okay. All right.
So I did that on purpose, of course, because then I could just be like, well, I'm just going to, because the whole point of it was to read and then take notes. So if I'm listening to an audiobook in the car, I can't really take notes, right?
I do voice to text memo. So I listen to the book,
okay.
and I pause it and take voice to text. And then I email those to myself later and put them in the common document.
Jeez. Huh. I never thought about it that way. That's pretty cool. So you, I've never seen anyone do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I do. I love taking voice to text notes on lectures because talking the things that I want to write down, talking them helps me integrate them more into ultimately, like whatever notes I'm taking are going to change my communication. At the IMC method, we're following Arash Dibazar. The IMC method is communication. It's kind of L. Ron Hubbard, like Scientology kind of stuff, but it's, communication creates your reality. And that is the spiritual practices, relationships and communication, and imagination and communication. And relationships is like a vehicle for that. But it comes down to your imagination and your communication. And so whatever I'm studying, it's somehow to improve my imagination or my communication. And or there is a third thing, which is a spiritual bliss. That's like a third, but that's kind of intangible, hard to measure. But your communication, your imagination, communication, how pleasant people find you're interacting. And imagination is like Elon Musk, like how much can you grow people's ideas, make them bigger, break them out of their paradigms. That's through your imagination. And it's through communication, but you had to imagine it. So I'm studying things to improve those things. For the most part, for me, it's my communication I'm improving, which means it's going to involve my facial expression, my talking tonality. And so if I'm writing down notes, how is that really improving my communication? My voice, like it is directly, because it's like the symbols of the mind and my vocabulary, I'm programming my mind when I take notes or when I type myself notes or type this way. But if I can talk my notes out, I'm that much closer to actually just talking them into my life.
Right.
So, and I love that because I study so many lectures, you'll go half a day and not say a word. And then when it comes time to talk, your voice isn't warmed up. So it also keeps your voice like involved in your life.
Definitely. Even explaining like what you just listened to.
Yes.
I've had trouble with that. Like I would listen to our podcast and then like you find something really valuable in there that you maybe want to tell someone else about. And then you're like, it's time to say what you just, listened to. And then you just kind of like freeze and you're trying to figure out how to explain it. Like you already have like an image of it, but you want to communicate it correctly to the other person that's on the other side. So
how does that go for you? It sounds like you've tried this many times.
No. So that's something I'm working to improve on, that part. Because like you said, taking notes is only right. Yeah. Taking notes, something that I've always done, but like you said, taking notes, I would say, just helps you kind of retain the knowledge or information, but it's not going to really assist you in being able to communicate what you've learned to somebody else.
It will a little bit. It's just not
right.
It's not the same as talking out your notes.
Exactly. Right, because we even spoke about it, like reading the messenger's notes, reading them out loud.
Oh yeah, I just went back and I'm reading Keys to the Matrix notes because I reread the Philosopher's Stone notes this week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday coming up is Abracadabra. So these are different events that are they're all messengers and they're built on the premise of messengers, which is basically the messenger was the god or the superhero of getting the message heard, getting the message understood. And whatever that message is, and we all have the message of our life. So we get that across and then there's the little messages of our business, messages of relationships and things. To the degree that builds to my life, it's the message. It's the message of my life. I'm here spreading the message of my existence. I'm alive. Here is Chris DeVilbiss, YogiChris PhD. How do you know? Because of my message. And you have to be receiving it, because I can send it all I want. But if you don't get it, let's say you're tuned into 92.5 and I'm broadcasting at 101.1, you're not getting it. I gotta calibrate but I can't blame you, because that makes me lame. I need to adapt my frequency so that you get it. And so that's the premise of like the messengers. And then it's built on another subject called tabiat, which is the nature. It's the nature of how men and women interact with each other. And there's a basic datum in there that Arash Dibazar teaches, and then, gives a lot of other teachings around it to help you fully integrate, because it's really easy. I could tell you in a sentence what it is, and it's going to be profound, but it's, what the tabiat is built on is this sentence. But, there's ways to integrate that so much more in your life. And that's what you go to the live event and the teachings for. So that's built into messengers. And then messengers is the science of communication, of getting your message across, getting it heard. And then there's many different angles on it. It started with your live event when you came to Messengers 1. And also add to that, then there was the following messengers, which was quite interesting, because Arash Dibazar went to the level 2 transcendental meditation. He stopped smoking weed for like a month, and he was going through like breakups. Like that event was very intense, and I want to go back and review that stuff. Then he did Keys to the Matrix, which just, hey, good to see you, Anna. Keys to the Matrix it's a weekend. It's still the messengers. It's you came live event. It was a weekend. Then there was, another extension program that was a weekend, like 3-4 hour lectures. So that's about 12 hours of lectures. And then there was Keys to the Matrix, another 12 hours of lectures that were the words of, let's say we're all communicating in a matrix of words. And you have local language, but then you also have like kind of symbols that transcend that, like LOL or okay or emojis. There's language that, that transcends like the geographic language, that's more human. And that was Keys to the Matrix. He broke it down, that just like kind of unveiled many different deeper layers of perception of what's happening here on planet Earth. It was really, really dope. That was one of my favorite events all time. Then he did Philosopher's Stone, which is, again, one of my favorite events all time. It's a Messenger's extension program. It's 12 hours of lectures. You get them all. You show up live. You change. The weekend is over, and you start the next week new. And now we have this one. And this is a live event, and Sultan is coming. And I want to know, what are you most looking forward to about this upcoming it's called Abracadabra. So Keys to the Matrix, Philosopher's Stone. This one is called Abracadabra, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What are you looking forward to most there?
Definitely going out after the lectures. That's going to be in itself, like, always something always really interesting happens afterwards. Whether it's a live event or just hanging out with AZD,
yeah,
where I have like a few times. So definitely going out afterwards during the lectures. Abracadabra. I have Abracadabra, the product.
Yeah.
I recently got it a few weeks ago, and
wow.
I watched the first and second module, I believe.
Yeah.
And haven't finished it yet, but
sure.
I'm
so good.
Guessing he'll go more in depth into that.
Of course, but
so,
within the context, because he's going through a couple different ideas of what this Messengers event was going to be. First, he said it was going to be dimension jumping, which is a technique that he showed in the mentorship, a language pattern of how to shift universes built on the ideas of quantum physics, that basically the viewer of the experiment affects the experiment by just viewing it. Because at the very least, a photon is moving from my eyeball to the thing, and then it bounces back and comes here. And now there's an interaction between me and the experiment. And that's quantum physics. So he builds on that and then gives you some language patterns for how to shift your mind universes and still be you, but you can embody different behaviors by identifying or associating your consciousness with that. So he's going to do dimension jumping. Then he changed it to, it was going to be another Keys to the Matrix. It was going to be Keys to the Matrix number 2, which was very exciting. Then I think there was even another one. And then he came to Abracadabra, which means you create what you speak. And it was going to be based on how to break down basically people's arguments, people's communications, and get to the premise of what's being said, and then communicating based on, you can imagine if we were going back and forth, but I didn't know what was really being said. Like if I'm communicating with a girl, classic example. Oh my God. They're just so indirect. Women are, I don't know, maybe it's just I'm a certain man that every woman I come across is a certain kind of woman. Maybe I just don't attract different kinds of women, but it seems like everyone, I teach hundreds of women. I taught 4 events in these last 2 weekends, and I don't know, average like 12 people an event, maybe more. All 12, that's 48 people, maybe 50 people, one guy. So it's mostly women that I'm teaching. So indirect. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's like that. What that means is that what's being said really is not being said. There's an implied communication that's not being directly said. It's not vocalized or verbalized. And you're going to be frustrated if you keep trying to communicate word for word with somebody who's implying something. You need to be able to pick up the premise of what they're really saying and speak to that. And that will create more of your reality, abracadabra. So that's what I believe this weekend's going to be. Plus, I'm sure there's going to be a residue of dimension jumping and what was the second one?
Keys to the Matrix.
And Keys to the Matrix. There's going to be more word magic because he's already given some samples in Love Spell and other things. There's going to be more keys to the Matrix that he'll give, and maybe dimension jumping will be in that, but I think it's based on the abracadabra idea.
Right.
So you're looking forward to. Go ahead.
I'm looking forward to the going out afterwards, as well as getting more deeper into abracadabra. Just because I've only just seen that product, so which went into it pretty extensive. What's the word? What's the word? It went into it like there's a lot of like I declare, like you've seen it, but it just went into abracadabra fairly well. So
yeah,
I'm curious to see what else.
It's going to go deeper, way deeper.
Right.
That's a product. That's a product for the common man that can purchase it for $100 or $200. Messengers is an exclusive program for people that have demonstrated their willingness to exchange for the information. So there's something deep in a person that makes them willing to exchange. Someone's values in life by what they spend their money on. So a person spends their money on McDonald's, they value their taste buds. A person spends their money on new sneakers. The person values, depending on if they're, if they use those sneakers for what they were designed for, or if they use their sneakers to look good. That's what they value. And that's
right.
Fine, And the people that come to messengers, they value information that alters their destination in life. And they're looking at their life long-term. And then looking backwards from the future. And giving ourselves advice. We jump time. We are the masters of our mind, and the whole universe is in your mind. So we're the masters of our universe. And, there's a lot to this. I love the topic. I love abracadabra. I think it's going to be very transformative. What is it that you're looking forward to the most when you go out? You're saying you're going out. What are you hoping? What's a vision? What's the ideal that if you could describe abracadabra for me a little bit? What does it look like when you go out after these lectures?
It's a really good question.
Yeah. Yes. I want to hear your mind on it. Watch it create, everybody. We'll do a follow-up interview with Sultan. Watch it create. He's going to create his weekend right now. What's an ideal? What are some things?
It reminded me of the Jordan Belfort, thing. Let me ask you.
Let me ask you. What do you think about? What do you think about like your weekend would be ideal?
Ideal. Wow. Going out afterwards. I mean, all 3 days. I mean, I'm not really sure what we're doing, but that's the cool part. So, going out afterwards, just carrying like a very strong vibe going out as a group, because it's not going to just be 3 of us like last time. I'm guessing it's going to be probably 5, 6 of us at least. 6 of us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 6 really powerful people going out.
This is Sultan, Troy Alvaro, which is the guest, Brian Casella, myself, Fernando Caro, and you, Sultan. The messengers.
Right. So going out with a really strong.
Every one of these men exchanged $25,000 for this information. All 6. Back over to you.
Yeah. So carrying such a strong vibe going out from these lectures with the knowledge that's being handed to us, for 3-4 hours, going out and just, I really don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what's gonna happen, of course.
Yeah,
but
of course not. What are some ideals?
Ideals, I mean, just being surrounded by powerful people, being surrounded by women, being surrounded by opulence,
powerful people, women.
Valiance.
What's that?
Valiance.
What is that?
Valiance. You ever heard of that?
Valiance?
Yeah.
It sounds like Valium, like that drug I used to take.
Valium? No, it's not.
Valiance. No, I know that Valiance.
Yeah, definitely not Valiance.
Better. What do you mean by that? That's a very exotic word. What do you mean by Valiance?
Valiance, like heroic, like almost just being surrounded by Valiance, being surrounded by heroic people, by people that are not afraid to voice their opinions, not afraid to, call someone out on their bullshit. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So getting called out on your bullshit and, freely expressing or voicing yourself, communicating, being powerful.
Not even like voicing. I mean, just wearing what you want. I mean,
yes.
Being surrounded by people because that's like true power right there.
What?
Being able to do what you want, like doing what you really want to do, not. For example, let's say I want to wear this out. I'm not going to leave it here and go out without it because someone might think I'm like a Buddhist or some like crazy guy or some guy like trying to sell something, like that, for example. Like the average person would probably take this off if they were to go door to door because they think that's they're gonna get looked at weird or something. They'll just make up some excuse, right? They're going to say,
yeah.
Or hey, you shouldn't wear earrings. You shouldn't be wearing those earrings if you're a real estate agent. Something like that, right?
Right.
But being surrounded by people like that, because that's true power. Because the average person can't do that.
It's a support system. It's in Buddhism, it'd be a sangha. It's a spiritual group, a spiritual community to hold each other accountable and to help elevate each other. Because we're men, and at a deep core, we're very competitive with each other. And so best to, just like when I wrestled in the wrestling room, you're competitive with each other. It doesn't mean you try to hurt each other. It means you try to beat each other. And no matter what happens, as long as you stick with it, even if you keep losing every day to your teammate, you get better. Because in the end, you're not measuring your progress against your teammate because you never compete with them. They're on your team. You compete against other people in the world. So your teammates make you stronger, and then you win more in the world. And everybody in the messengers I keep seeing grow. Fernando grows. Jordan, so much growth. Myself, I tell my story every day. Brian Casella, look at him. It's changing before our eyes. Sultan, it's obvious today is a little bit low. Today is a low energy, but there's so much growth in your articulation, a lot of power in one place. Yeah. And let's look at power. Okay. Power is inside. There's the power outside, but that power only comes from inside. And the power outside, there's always something more powerful. Even when you're the most powerful fucking alien, a Pleiadian comes and is 20,000 years more advanced. I mean, what are you going to do? You're only so powerful. That's like comparing a lion to a human. Like, they're so strong, but we're human. Come on. I have a rifle. So, you know, there's that power, but then there's the power of no matter what happens, I'm okay. I have power over my emotions. I have power over the outside world, controlling my internal experience. No, I'm actually in control of the outside's control. It's funny. It's like the outside controls, but I'm in control of that. It's a power to be free on the inside, which is very similar to what you're saying, to say what you want, get what you do, what you want. But also it should be known that the real awareness is, I will do what I want and I accept whatever consequences come with it. And the power in that is, I'm okay with whatever consequences come with that. I'm okay. And that's a deeper messenger's teaching. I'm actually giving a messenger's teaching away. There's more depth to that. I'm going to cut it right there. There's way more than that. Arash explains it way better, more powerfully, and more dynamically. And so I hand it back over to you. So you're excited, looking forward to going out afterwards. So we get the teachings, we upgrade, 3-4 hours of lecture, mind overhaul. You know, it's like tilling the mind. All the nutrients come to the surface. We go out. We're all very strong, powerful, and effective at communicating. And we're around a master communicator. We're all in the same space. Of course, there's going to be women. Of course, there's going to be opulence, valor. Of course, there's going to be heroism. And paint me. This is going to be, I want to give you the last part of this. We'll just go a few more minutes. Tell me a little bit more. Expand that ideal for me. Abracadabra for me.
Expand it as in expand it on what's going to happen.
Sultan Pravata, I want you to paint more detail. You know, if I just tried to paint a sunset and I just slap on some yellow and some blue and whatever, you'd barely be able to tell it's a sunset.
Right.
But if I did another layer and I went back and I modified and revisited my painting, I might be able to add more detail so everyone else can tell more of what it is. Tell me more. Basically, I'm saying, give me more words.
Right.
And that, you just got to open your throat and exhale and vibrate your glottis. And then words will naturally happen because you're a human and that's what you do.
Right. Right.
What kind of women? What would the women look?
Well, depends where we're at, but
yes,
I have a good idea of where we would be at.
Okay. Where would we be at?
Oh, you want me to say?
Yeah.
Oh, well, probably one of these places, but probably like V-Bar.
Okay, you're right. You don't need to name it. Okay, so imagine we're there.
Right. High class, high standard.
What does high standard look like?
High standard looks like dressed very well.
Dressed well. What is dressed well?
Dressed well. Dressed well as in more kind of like a business casual almost in a way.
Business casual. So women, they look business casual. What else can you tell me about their appearance?
Say tall.
Tall. How tall is tall? 5'10"?
Say at least 5'8".
5'8", and they're in heels or flats?
Say a little bit of both. Did it cut out on your? I think it cut out on your end, YogiChris.
It's more likely to happen that way. That is the real mysticism here. You there? Oh, it's my internet connection that was cutting out. Okay, so you were saying, are they in heels?
Both.
Are they in heels or flats?
I would say some of both.
Some of both. So that the multiple women. What are they? 3, 4, 5 women? How many?
So about six.
6 women. Okay, there's 6 guys and teacher. Teacher maybe has a girlfriend, so it sounds like woman, a guy. On average, unless I bring 3 and Jordan brings 2 and Sultan has 1, everybody else doesn't have I don't know. Okay, so you're surrounded by opulence. What do you see around you that's so opulent? How do you know there's opulence around you?
Well, the location.
Okay, it's the location. What about the location is opulent?
The architecture and the location, besides the architecture, the people there as well. Us being there, of course, it's opulence.
Okay, so opulence is like rich, wealthy, kind
right.
of like. So what around you is opulent?
The environment, is opulent. The people,
what about it? What about the environment? What about the people are opulent?
Well, in that area, everyone is very, very wealthy. So fancy cars, high-end cars.
Okay, cars.
High-end cars, yeah. So we have high-end cars. We have the area itself has a lot of, like, they always kind of like, depending on what season it is, they will put lights and things like that. So the area itself, you can tell, is being taken care of.
Okay,
so
well taken care of.
It's more high class. Yes.
High class, yeah. Okay, so more details. We need to get practice.
Right.
Details into this because there's a lot of. Let's realize the mouth sounds. You got to get a hold of that. Get a hold of that mouth sound when you communicate, because that's that's communicating. It's subcommunicating something outside of the words, and we all have that. I'm just like 6, 12, 18 months ahead of you on that. So in 6, 12, 18 months, I'll look back at my videos and say, oh, I had that tick. I had this. I had that. And that's how you identify them. I identify them in myself by watching my recordings. And I remove ineffective sounds that I make. And speaking the details, specifics, like Lily Machine says here on Instagram. Got a lot of people on Instagram. We need to get you on Zoom one day. But I didn't post the link, so that's my mistake. Okay, we're going to need to end this to go over to another event that's happening. And there's a lot more. I would go deeper into so you said opulence, you said women, you said valor, and you said power. I would go more into getting you to describe those things. And this is kind of the science of what I teach in the silent flute. But again, the silent flute is I'm teaching Fly Girl, this whole recording, watch it. And so that's what I would do. Yeah, I just did that mouth sound. I just did that exact mouth sound that I told you not to do. How funny is that? You see? That's hilarious. So we're starting this event this weekend. Anybody interested in the messengers, send me a private message. You'll see the link below, how to join the newsletter. Is there a new Zoom link every time, or will it always be the same one? It should be different every time. All 3 podcasts, the silent flute lecture, and my messengers lectures. So those 5 links, they're all different. And so that's what it is. It's also, the video is live on Facebook, so you can catch it there. And I'll hand over any final words to you, Sultan. What are some final words that you would want the audience to hear about you and your messenger's experience? What would you want them to know about it?
Life-changing, especially, going to them every month for about 3 months, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
I think this is the fourth time going. So second time live.
It was live, and then it was online, and then this time is live again.
Right. Yeah, completely life-changing, completely, mind-altering. It's like that little voice in your head, like that I was talking about earlier. It's still there, of course. Maybe it'll go away, but at least now it's gotten to the point where it has very little control over me.
Oh, man.
My communication has improved. I would
yeah.
say tremendously. I just started Toastmasters, so it's doing Toastmasters and this coming to these events is going to improve even a lot more.
Bro.
So that, going live, YogiChris called me out on some stuff, and I like the mouth sound. That's
right.
And you need people like that.
Yes.
around you to catch you on these things,
We're on
because
the same team.
right. Yeah. And of course, some people might get offended, like, well, you shouldn't say that to him. Right. And now I look back at it, it's like, wow, I'm glad that you did say something versus you didn't, right?
Because, imagine if we were on the same wrestling team and you're making a mistake and I keep catching your ankle, taking you down, scoring points, catching your ankle. At some point, I'm going to say, hey, quit stepping all your weight on that foot, because I can tell a half a second before you land that all your weight's going to be on that foot, and I can catch your ankle.
Right. Exactly.
And you might be embarrassed because you thought you were so good or whatever, but ultimately we're in the practice room together. And when you go out and compete against the enemy, you're not going to step so heavy-footed. And that's the same way with your communication. If you're making an error in your communication, because you represent me and I represent you, we're on the same team. And I want my representations, it's like what I would want my girlfriend or something. I want my representations to be the strongest possible. But my friends and you, Sultan, you'll find that your male friends accept your corrections much better than because you think you're getting down about it. You're not getting that down about it. I have to be so soft and gentle when I correct women in particular in yoga studios, in my teaching and in my online training and in person with my relationships. It's true. I must soften. It's a different gender. Anyway, we need to go. That's going to be Enlightened Masculinity tomorrow night at the same time. Enlightened Masculinity, everybody, if you want to come. I'm interviewing Shane Smith tomorrow. It's going to be incredible. And thank you so much, Sultan. I really want to have you on again, brother. It's a shame this is the first time. We're going to do it again. And
of course. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome very much. Okay, everybody. Thank you. If you're catching this iTunes, YouTube, leave us a review, and we'll see you next time. Blessings. Namaste.